Right, so recap from last time. You guys undertook a mission after being led through the Underdark, or basically the underbelly of the Foundry by DS. You met with Auntie, the owner of an establishment down in the Feydark Commons, and then you also met a primordial named She, who tasked you with delivering one of her pets to the plane of fire. This pet happens to be a elementally unstable baby Tarask named Prism. Taking to the streets and into the rest of the underworks, you wound your way through at least the first section of the Plane of Fire's underbelly. However, as a result, from dodging some guards, you came across a gruesome scene of a strange creature who had basically killed several of the guards. After a long and rather arduous and dangerous battle, you managed to slay the creature as its body turned to dust. However, you soon realized that it wasn't the only one here, and several more guards up in the higher tunnels had also been slain by another creature of the same caliber wearing the same kind of robes. You saw it extracting energy from the guards themselves, from the bodies, into a strange lantern device before it vanished. Passing through this, you discovered that there were still two guards alive and were unaware of the events that had taken place down in the lower tunnels, all before finding a safe spot in a safe room and taking a short rest. What do you do?
We're taking the rest, right?
Yep.
Tibbs will take Various aside at some point and start talking about the robes he took off of that body.
Do you take the robes out of your bag?
Oh, when no one else is looking, obviously.
Tiberius, as you actually do that, you notice as you reach into your bag to take the robes out, instead you pull out not a robe, but dust. Blue dust.
Well, that's not right. By my ears, what is this? This is supposed to be the robes. Various. What did you do?
Various looks very somber. He's still occasionally rubbing his face with one of his hands, a bit like a rabbit would clean its face. And he doesn't seem quite focused on the situation. He seems like he's just thinking about something else, and he shakes his head. You know I didn't do that.
There's going to be a loud thump noise from Tiberius as he tries to get Various' attention because he's supposed to be paying attention to Tiberius. Tiberius is talking here. Come on.
What?
I said, the robes turned to ash in my bag.
It's not exactly the most complicated of tricks to make such a thing happen. He still seems very focused on something else. And not necessarily angry at Tiberius as he usually would be, or as prone to confrontation. Just sort of looking down to the side and chewing his lower lip.
Switch back over to the map. There we go. You guys do notice that Prism is more or less wandering around to each and every one of you, kind of just inspecting you before moving on to each and every one. Sort of like it's almost pacing as you guys rest. It's a baby. It probably has a lot of energy, as you may surmise. In fact, Prism approaches you, Dacian, and kind of looks up at you with its very big, very black eyes.
He'll reach a hand out tentatively to see if he can pet without getting licked.
Yeah, you manage to sort of place your hand on top of Prism's very broad head, and the creature doesn't lick you, but it just kind of blinks and stares up at you.
he'll give it a pat and a little, scratch.
Mhm. Almost as if like it's reaffirming that you're okay, it'll kind of move on to everyone else.
Mm,
It is not paying any attention to you, Tiberius.
good. At the same time, not good.
And Prism now actually approaches you, Flix, and kind of gives you one of your arms a little nudge with its nose.
Okay, I will look down.
And just kind of gives you a little bit of a nudge again.
Yes, maybe.
It definitely seems to be looking up at you, like almost as asking if, in its eyes at least, if you're alright, if everything's okay.
Fine.
It definitely seems to show a little bit of intelligence compared to some animals.
Yes, I will pat its head.
And indeed, Prism is sort of using your arm to like auto pet, just rub.
Oh, good. It's like a dog.
It's like jelly beans.
And then Prism will kind of move around you over to Rose and kind of nudge him as well. Roll me an Arcana check. Okay. You kind of lean over her and you notice that the crystals and spots along her body, which had originally been rainbowish in tint, kind of reflective in nature, almost chromatic, have shifted to a fiery set of reds. The reds, over the time that you've been resting here, have diminished a little bit. And with that, it definitely feels as if the magic inside a prism is becoming a little bit more unstable when before they were a bit more stable. So it's not quite apt to explode, but it's getting there. Getting anxious right now probably wouldn't set it off right about now, at least.
Alright, well, you're not exactly a powder keg, but you still got views going on there.
And Prism kind of just gives a raise of its head as it tilts it to the side, kind of looking confused.
Roche just kind of looks around to the others there and... Alright, well, that was nice to get off our feet for a moment, but and jerks a thumb over Prism. Clock's ticking.
Okay. Am I the one who realizes that there's been murders and no one else seems to care? Is that what you all do? Do you care if one of you has been killed? I'm sorry, I'm new to the whole you beings made of energies and things like that. It's just, I'm kind of wondering.
My guess is they do care, but they also want to get out of here. And once it settles in, and once it hits, then they'll care quite a bit more. It's a common survival instinct. Then again, they aren't exactly flesh and blood.
Oh, okay.
What would you like to do now?
Is there anything that can be heard down the way to the left?
To the left? You do feel heat coming from this area, especially Euros, but it's a more familiar heat. But it's definitely, as if you go down the chamber itself, it gets a little bit warmer as you approach this area.
Yeah, sure. I will go ahead and take a peek.
Okay. Let me reveal. It looks rather empty, actually.
Hmm.
Actually, looks incredibly empty. Can you roll me perception? As you kind of look down this hall, as you kind of listen for anything, you notice that it's actually suspiciously quiet. There's no rumbling of thunder, no sound of rain, no sound of footsteps, just quiet.
I don't suppose I'm smelling any more charred flesh just yet.
No.
Alright, people. Well, looks like, at least for the moment here, things are a little bit quiet. Maybe we should probably take advantage of this while we're all still able to walk on two legs, more or less.
Wait, is that a shot?
Don't you have 2 legs?
That
Yes,
was...
I agree. We should continue on our way before the wonderful creature made of multiple colors explodes on us. I, for one, don't intend to die anytime.
Yeah, I don't know about the rest of you, but I'm not planning to spend my night tasting the rainbow. Let's get a move on.
Daisy and Mouse will move over closer. They have been having a nice little quiet conversation in another language
Mm-hmm.
between themselves.
Prism is definitely following, though she will kind of just pause behind you, Rose, and keep a close eye on you, and then look back at the others.
Alright, just like before here. I'll go see what's up ahead a little bit first, just in case the natives more or less are restless. And with that, Rose is going to start to approach along this wall here.
Okay. And again, it's incredibly quiet and incredibly empty, but you do see that the hallway opens up. But it opens up to a set of stairs, actually. And at least from what you can gather, this leads up to the Foundry. But suspiciously, there's no guards. Though you may think that potentially that the guards that you saw back at the pool, down behind you, might have been the ones that stood guard here. It's hard to say.
Right. That's back a little bit there. Alright, Foundry's up ahead. We're, more or less halfway home at this point. Alright. I'm just gonna kind of just wait more or less for the kind of the others to gather up.
Yeah. As you all start approaching and entering this hallway, the distinct smell of sulfur, brimstone, and the wafting heat from the plane of fire is coming through this particular hall. It's not unbearable, but for the outsiders who are here, it is getting a little toasty.
Alright, well, guess I'm gonna continue on here a bit. I'm just gonna get to the base of stairs there, and then
Alright.
just once everyone's there. Rose just kind of gives a slightly condescending look to the outsiders towards the rear. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. You get used to it.
How? Do you not have a nose? Wait, you don't have a nose. No, you do have a nose. Do you smell? How does heat smell?
It's kind of funny what you can do when you're not particularly limited by your senses anymore.
That's sidestepping the question, actually. Do you smell?
Yes, technically I can smell. I don't necessarily need to, but it does come in handy.
So you can turn it off? Can you turn off hearing?
Rose does not respond.
Ah, you can turn off your ability to speak. Cunning.
Dacian's just gonna walk by. If only we could turn off our ability to hear.
Excellent. So when I call for help, you will hear me. Excellent. Good.
Various and Flix, you guys gonna catch up?
Yep.
You guys wind over up to the stairwell. It is surprisingly guard-free, and everything seems almost eerily quiet. Switch to the map. Head to the lower right-hand corner of the map, if you please. Switch you. There we go. As you wind your way up the stairs, everything around you tends to take on a reddish hue. From the bricks, from the mortar, to the very sky itself. Especially the sky, as you notice the storm is no longer looming overhead, and the sky, at least over the fire district, has returned to a soft red coloration with blackened clouds hanging high above. The heat here has grown more intense, but it's not to a point where it will kill you, but it's definitely going to make some makeup run for some outsiders.
Oh no, Flix.
My golds.
Flix,
Wait.
however, since you do have a sigil stone, the heat is not as intense.
Oh, good.
So you should be fine. Tiberius and Varius, however, you guys are definitely starting to feel the effects of the heat.
Is it just me? Or does it feel like we're being cooked alive?
Doesn't feel wonderful, no.
Story of my life.
Actually reveal the area in front of you. At least from what you've come to see, is that you've actually come out into an alleyway from the underground. The path up ahead seems to come to an abrupt stop and then curve off to the side. There is several bins along the side that seem to hold various different refuse, mostly paper, and the like. Nothing really stands out, and there doesn't seem to be anything moving here.
So are outsiders allowed out in this area?
I mean, just about anyone is allowed here.
Oh,
You
good.
know, that being said, Rose starts to talk, but then just doesn't say anything as Tibbs moves forward.
And he's gone.
And yes, he's already gone ahead. You see that the alleyway actually curves once again and heads and veers off toward the north.
I see.
There's
Where
again
is
more
everyone?
bins, more boxes, stuff that's sort of just laying around like you would see normally in an alleyway.
Are a lot of you coming? Honestly. I have to do everything myself these days.
Prism is definitely taking off after you, kind of following you.
Also, as a note, does Prism still have the sheet over them?
Of course, the
Yes.
amazing disguise.
They kind of have scraps of it left over, but it's still kind of hanging on to them. They look like a very tired ghost, but you can see the shimmering scales below it.
Prism matches with the decorum. It's perfect.
Almost looks like a burnt ghost.
Perfect. Things here are dead. It looks like it died. Everything's fine.
Rose is going to sidestep over to Various for a moment. How do you put up with him? I'm honestly curious.
It's something I don't have a choice in. Plus, for all his idiosyncrasies, he's the closest thing I have to a friend that isn't family.
Rose just kind of gives a slightly oddly poignant look at Various, and then just kind of gives a little nod and moves on down the alleyway.
Around the corner for that.
Tiberius, give me a perception, please.
I want him to see me, though I don't want him to see me. Huh? Oh. I hope that was persuasion, because perception is -1 for me.
Perception. I want to see if you notice it. Oh yeah, you kind of were in the middle of kind of petting Prism and like, oh, giving her the baby talk. But the moment you start hearing footsteps coming up the alley, and you're like, oh shit, and kind of draw your hands back and kind of look like you weren't doing anything as Rose comes around the corner. Prism does look very confused and will look between you and then over to Rose. And then back to you.
Finally, one of you is coming. Do I have to lead this thing on my own?
I mean, I'm all for you leading it. Just do everything in your ability, assume that's possible, to not aggravate it.
What would I do to aggravate this thing? It could eat me.
Yes, it could eat you, and then end up having the most explosive heartburn of all time.
Well, at least I'd hope if it ate me that it would have some kind of reaction. Nothing worse than being devoured and, passing as a gas.
I think it'll pass a little more than gas.
I certainly do hope so. Now let's continue moving. Where is Various?
I think Prism exploding may be the least of our worries after earlier.
Prism kind of looks over at you, Daisy, and goes,
Daisy will look at Prism. Thus far, you've proven yourself to be slightly less dangerous to all of us than, their own personalities.
She'll kind of walk up to you and give a nudge of your arm, like almost as a grateful gesture.
Tiny head pat scritch.
Mm-hmm.
Does this make Dacian the Grateful Dead?
Various looks to Tiberius as he approaches.
Making friends with the locals, are you?
Are we almost there?
Well, apparently outsiders are allowed around here, so we're perfectly fine to walk around. About time, too.
There's no curfew up here?
Well, Rose didn't say there was. No, we're perfectly fine. Yeah. Are you two talking about something, or can we bring this walking cute death bomb to where it needs to go so that we can not be in perilous danger? Personally, I enjoy the idea of dying, but I do not want to entertain the idea of actually dying.
Very well. He reaches over to Pat, flicks his arm, and starts to head up to catch up with the others, and motions Flix to keep up.
This will
And-
follow and be confused by the other bunny.
I mean, it is a confusing statement.
As you guys approach, you see Prism is kind of looking back and forth between Rose and Dacian before kind of going to mess around with the boxes and bins around the alley, kind of just rummaging around. And some of them, like you would see a dog, making a little bit of noise in the process.
All right. Easy there, big fella. Let's get you to your stable, shall we? And with that, let's start getting back to that scouting business.
You look down this particular alleyway, and once again it seems to end abruptly before curving off to the side. There's again more bins, more boxes, but there's significantly less as you head up further around here, so it starts clearing out a bit more.
I don't suppose any of those said bins contain hamburgers.
Mostly paper from the looks of it. The building here in the center, there's a building right here. There's a door right back here, but it's been closed this entire time. There's no movement inside or any sound, but at least gathering from all the paper and stuff like that, this place might deal with such wares.
All right. Yeah, let's move around here then.
All right, and you look around the corner and you see that the pathway does bridge out into 3 different directions.
Goody.
Now, are there buildings around us?
Yes, there are. In fact, these are not actual walls. Everything like in this empty space, it's pretty much buildings. Any places that have this little space right here, there is a wall.
Are there any patios or anything where people might be?
Not here at least.
All right, so it's just not quite in the residential district, just
More
various buildings.
business.
Business.
Definitely more business.
All right. Rose is going to move closer to the intersection and is going to try to see if there's any activity seen or heard from the 3 paths there.
No, actually, it's terrifyingly quiet. You don't hear any shuffling. You don't hear the breeze. You don't hear anything.
Dacian's look over towards Rose. I don't suppose you're familiar with this area more at all?
You are, actually, Rose, and this is incredibly abnormal. Usually you hear the footsteps of guards, you usually hear the sounds of flames crackling, you usually hear people inside the buildings and whatnot, but you don't hear any of that right now.
There's nothing here. Oh, hell.
The storm might have drawn some inside, but still. What's the quickest way to where we need to be?
I have a feeling this isn't just a no storm. I mean, yeah, sure, run away from the equivalent acidic rain, but usually after it passes, you come back out and go about your business. If Rose... Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, that's why I would rather get to where we need to be.
Agreed. If Rose is... If Yeah, just a moment. If Rose is familiar with this area, would they have like a general idea of at least a direction towards the fire portal from here?
Yes, you would know that you would need to head at least to the central area of the fire district and then head north and
Uh,
follow the big giant paved road. You
and
know that
what?
there's several
Mhm.
offshoot streets that you could potentially take that might lead there, but it's up to you to follow them if you wish.
Where are we relative to the portal right now?
You take a moment to kind of get your bearings and kind of recalibrate exactly where you are. You kind of look back toward the alleyway, and then you kind of look up the sky and then look up at the buildings around you. You would recognize the building that was over here as the letterman's shop. So someone that sells stuff for like letters, postage, and stuff like that. So you would get a general idea that the fire portal would be somewhere around this area and to the north.
Alright. Yeah, Rose points towards this, towards the west here. If we follow that and keep heading up, that should get us to the portal eventually.
Good to know.
Not much as I enjoy this delightfully cryptic, quiet cityscape, should probably get moving.
Rose nods and we'll continue forward.
Alright, so let me reveal. Up ahead, you actually see several larger buildings as well as some smaller pathways between them. There's no lights on.
Alright, moving forward. Going to go in between here then.
Mm-hmm. It's definitely a case of only one person can fit through at a time. It's kind of like a in-between buildings kind of sort of thing. And as you look through, you do see the paved road up ahead.
Rose is going to look over to Prism for a moment. This is going to be a mite bit tight for you. You just ain't tight there, will ya?
She'll kind of watch you pass through. And as you pass through, it opens up to the main street. Let me just reveal that part for you.
I'm just kind of going out to the center here for a moment to just kind of ascertain around.
Okay. You kind of see that far. Once again, there doesn't seem to be anyone around, but you can actually start hearing sounds now once again, but it's coming from the south. And it's more a case of just general city noise. It's very faint, however. Almost as if it's... People are starting to come out and kind of realize, hey, the storm's passed, but it hasn't quite reached the point to where people are willingly able to go out at the moment, either out of fear or protocol.
Alright, well, good to know there's some sort of life here, but still rather just avoid confrontation at the moment. That seems the wisest.
Mm-hmm.
So let's actually head up the way here then.
Okay. Reveal that. And once again, it's just more of the, essentially the boardwalk of the fire district. It's basically just a long, large roadway that would, at least to your knowledge, lead to the fire portal. Usually it has guards patrolling up and down it, but you're not seeing any.
Will Prism fit through that corridor?
Rose told her to wait there. That's why she's waiting.
Alright, well, nothing here, but at least the path's still clear for now. Wait, where? Oh. Where's Prism? I thought Prism was with you.
Prism stayed back.
You can kind of see her poking her head out from behind the building, looking down at you.
Surprisingly obedient.
If everything was just that easy. Rose is going to kind of curve around this alleyway here.
Mhm.
and just kind of.
It's a little bit easier to get through that side at least, but there definitely is a wall, a very tall wall, that leads into, that basically separates this place from the Foundry, the rest of it.
Beckons over to Prism. All right, here we go. Here we go. We can keep going.
She seemed to have turned her gaze to Tiberius and was kind of watching him before hearing Rose, and then kind of quickly bounding on over to you.
Blast.
She'll follow you. It's a bit of a tight squeeze for her, because she is at least rather large for a creature like her, more or less of the shoulder length, but she's able to kind of squeeze through. It is definitely a tight fit, though.
All right, there you go.
It's clear.
Come here, Peanut. Come on. Hello.
All right, well, yeah, I think we just keep heading points over this way. Well, actually, kind of points over more this way in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we keep following that, then we should be in the portal in no time.
And you're certain it's all right for us to be out?
I mean, there is curfew.
Various turns this pointed stare at Rose.
Yeah, in case you forgot, you're still in the plains technically. And rules can be rather all-encompassing.
Where's Tiberius? He's
Halfway
under
to
the
danger?
impression. He's under the impression that.
You guys do see Tiberius up ahead of you. He is gone further north.
Dacian's gonna put his head in his hands, just one hand up. As I said, halfway to danger.
Ah, for the love of Leonard.
You sure are taking your sweet time, honestly.
Alright, everyone, y'all heard the white rabbit. Let's get moving.
I am a buck, not a rabbit. And the correct term is population. Do you have ears? Don't run away. Do you have ears? Come back here.
Oh my god.
I'm quite interested. Are your ears pointy? At the very least, they should be pointy.
And that is important in the moment because...
Dacian's gonna move over closer to the wall.
See, that one has pointy ears. Do you have ears?
Yes, I have ears.
You know, we could literally just let them go on ahead on their own and see what happens to them at this point.
There, you do have a point there. Alright, fearless
Sometimes
leader.
the best lessons are those learned hard way.
Alright, so Tiberius, you want to move on, you say? Then let's
Excellent.
hop to
Very
it.
well. Wait, was that a pun? Good job, Rose. I knew we'd crack that hard exterior of yours. Come on,
Rose.
Prism.
Prism actually doesn't follow you. She's staring at Rose.
Prism? Tap, Prism.
And she'll kind of make this sound as she looks at you.
I said, come, Prism.
Oh my lord.
Ah, very well. Obviously, you'll be tempted by some kind of snack. Let's see. Oh, look, dancing lights!
Tiberius, please.
Watch this creature. Every creature loves dancing lights. Have you seen how cats react?
He's gonna walk over and just lean against the wall and wait for the chaos to happen.
If you're gonna cast dancing lights, please roll wild magic for me.
Ah, son of a bitch.
Just okay. It does seem that the fluidity that your magic came out earlier seems to have passed, and it kind of takes a little bit to get it to take the shape and form you want it to. It kind of almost looks like an oblong light than a perfect circle, but it does the trick.
Hmm.
It's like it was trying to become something else.
It's honestly not quite right with me.
But
Various?
you definitely have Prism's attention.
Would at least it worked. Various, not a word. Let's continue, please. Get this done with so we can get our stones and
Tiberius, the curfew is still in effect up here.
listening.
Let me reveal up ahead of you. You see a bit more of the road, and you see several pathways leading off to the side.
Look like Prism would fit in the pathway. Who am I kidding?
Varius looks over at Dacian and Rose and is like, well, if you'd rather sit and let someone be potentially killed and feed your own egos, so be it. But I'm going to get this job done.
That's right, Prism. This way, little crazy, death-defying, or perhaps enabling.
Death enabling, that's new.
Obviously, death isn't as permanent as I thought once. These two came back from it, and they kept their ears, so that's good.
The more you walk forward, the more you're realizing that there's no one on the street at all.
Does it seem odd to you?
Yes, it does.
I hope none of our kind are here. What they were doing with that lantern.
In fact, I'm going to go ahead and reveal the rest of this area for you guys. In fact, you can see all the way down toward a large gate, and again, there's no one here.
Where do we have to bring this thing in?
We have to bring this thing to the Fire Ward's castle. That's why we're looking for the fire portal.
Rose, at least from your knowledge, you would know that typically this place is rather heavily guarded, especially the archway up ahead.
I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
Oh, please, what's that like? People are asleep. People do sleep, right?
Actually, not really.
Oh.
But there should still be some, at least, couple people patrolling around here.
Can I do a perception roll?
Sure, go ahead. What are you looking for?
I'm seeing if there's anything else out of the usual. Are there any bodies? Are there any signs of
Sure, go ahead.
struggle, stuff like that?
Mm-hmm. You don't see nothing. Everything just looks like there's no one around. You don't really notice anything.
So, Rose, where exactly is this castle we're supposed to bring this thing to?
When we get to the fire portal, that'll land us in the plane of fire.
Are you talking about a portal actually made of fire? I'm not sure anymore with this place.
I think he means what's up ahead.
It is.
He points to the. Oh, sorry.
It is essentially a magical conduit that links the Foundry to the plane of fire. Find that, From there, straight shot to the castle.
Oh, so we simply have to take Prism into the giant gate that is unguarded straight ahead of us, and we will be done this mission.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, Rose would already. I'm guessing Rose would already figure that whether or not this gate actually leads to the portal.
Mm-hmm. He already knows this.
Yeah, and does it or does it not?
In fact, Rose, you know that when you came here to the Foundry for the party, being Leonard's bodyguard, when you came through here, there were at least 10 guards, at least near the gateway. And they're nowhere to be seen.
Want to do a perception check too? Maybe one
If you
that's
want-
better than mine.
If you want to, whoever wants to.
That sounds fun. Yep.
Rose, yeah, you're too disturbed by you're kind of more occupied by the fact that something isn't right here. Like you're pretty sure that there's people supposed to be patrolling this area. There's supposed to be people on guard, but where are they? I mean, even if they were in the buildings to avoid the storm, they should have come out immediately after it was over. That's their job, after all. But you don't really see anything because you're kind of contemplating that.
All right. But just so we're clear, does that gate lead to the portal, or are we looking more towards still to the west here?
You know it's up here.
Okay, so it is up to the north then.
Okay, no problem.
Okay.
Let them get their Tylenol. Does anyone else want to roll perception?
No.
Okay.
Actually, I probably should.
Yeah.
Even if he's gonna pretend like he doesn't see a thing.
Okay, Dacian, you kind of push yourself off the wall as everyone starts moving along. You figured to at least follow along to see what's going on. However,
I'm gonna watch some rabbits die is what's gonna happen.
However, the moment you do, you kind of stop for a second and notice that there's something on the ground. It's shards of metal, and they look burnt. Which is, finding burnt shards of metal in the plane of fire is not too crazy, but you kind of kneel down to get a better look at them because they look broken. You kind of pick one up, turn it over, and you notice that these are magical burns. It's not fire burns. And that's a little alarming considering this shouldn't be on the ground, but the more you look over the piece of metal, it looks to be guard armor. And you look up from that and you see several more spots where there either are signs of scuffles, magical burns that are along the alleyways. It looks like something did happen here.
Well, good news. All of our friends from down below apparently met the same fate as whatever happened up here. We just don't have bodies.
Tiberius, come back here.
He'll hold a piece of the metal up.
Why? What's the problem?
Look at Rose. Does this look familiar at all? Perhaps in a more torso-hugging shape? In its previous life?
I am following your train of thought there.
As Dacian shows you these metal fragments, Rose, and you kind of look around a little bit more closely, you are also seeing the signs of scuffle along the street. And
So
it
the
seems to
question-
continue toward the portal.
So the question is, were they coming or going? As in, have we yet to run into them, or have we already?
Question for the DM then. With the keen mind, could Rose kind of figure out the timeline between, like when it happened, like what happened to Foundry compared to what happened in the Commons?
Yes, actually. In fact, as you kind of look over this and you notice the markings, these are fresh. This just happened.
Rose kind of gives a slightly pained look up to Dacian. Yeah, this was a pretty damn recent hit and run here.
So we're basically walking right into wherever they are currently exploding people.
That's one theory that's hit my mind right now, yes.
As you guys are talking about this, Prism does move forward a little bit, but kind of stops dead in her tracks right about here and looks off to the side before darting off.
Well, fuck.
Oh boy. And Rose just kind of
As you
Various.
As Tiberius and Rose around the corner, they see that Prism is standing over the body of a guard.
Oh no, not this again.
Various immediately motions to Belloa, and Belloa moves to Flix's side.
Is this one still at least got a body and not shards of armor?
This one still has a body, but you can definitely see it's starting to dissipate into nothing. It's sort of like breaking pieces off and vanishing. Kind of like how you see a charred corpse when it turns to ash.
Is that normal?
It's not normal. You would know this, Rose, and so would you, Dacian.
Not something you see every day, every year, or at all usually.
Oh, good. I vote we make a straight run for the gate. Who's with me?
Prism is definitely kind of watching the body break apart and kind of just pause at it.
that
Don't
is
touch that. You don't know what it's been.
that is not a bad observation there.
Unfortunately, if they're waiting at the gate or on the other side, we're going to run right into them and possibly end up the same way as these.
So that leaves us with one option. Press forward in a tactical manner to address whatever threat may lay ahead, or fall back and try to get back to the tavern where the Bandersnatch was. What do you
Creepy
think
Tavern, where the
gives-
thing almost killed me.
What's our best option? Or are you going to use us as cannon fodder? He gives a pointed look at Dacian and Rose.
Alright, look. We're given a job. One way or another, we gotta find a way to press through that. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't be losing our heads about it. There is something up ahead, we'll figure out what it is and go from there.
The body, is it decomposing like the robe did?
No. It's decomposing as if it was a charred piece of wood and it's just breaking apart into ash. This is completely different than the robe and the bird's body. It's almost as if whatever essence was inside this body was drained out and the remains are just kind of collapsing.
So like a shell losing all.
Yes.
Once this is, look, Rose approaches Furious and kind of takes a breath more for show than anything.
He peers up at Rose, obviously not in the best mood.
Look, I think we are all in agreement. This is not exactly how anybody expected today to unfold. If we can find a way through this mess here, we'll be able to meet up with my ward. And at least, good news is that Leonard has a particular liking to outsiders, so we get to the castle, you and Tiberius will at least be in safe hands for now.
He nods to Rose, glaring Dacian's way. You remind me of the nobility in my homeland. From the way he says it, it's pretty clear it's an insult.
Ooh.
Alright, well that being said there, I don't think things are going to get any easier from this point forward, so I'll just keep our wits about us. We'll find a way through this, one way or another.
Then perhaps you should stop planning to sacrifice a good half of your entourage. Or do you not see the obvious issues with that?
Funnily enough, if everyone had exercised a bit more caution, perhaps, we wouldn't have all almost become crispy.
I didn't see you doing much. You were in the hall just like the rest of us.
We were scouting for a safe path through to avoid conflict. And between you and your bickering friend, well, it's like trying to muffle screaming children.
Hilarious. His ears pin back. And Belua growls. But he
As
simply
Belua
looks at
growls,
Rose.
I would like you guys to all roll a perception roll for me, please. Okay. Alright. Waiting for Flix and Tiberius. Okay. Waiting on Flix and Tiberius for their rolls.
Second one, there's supposed to be mouse.
Yeah, I kind of figured with the modifier. I'm just waiting for Flix and Tiberius.
Yeah, Tiberius might still be helping Flix's player right now.
Okay. If that's the case, Rose, as you kind of are watching Various and Dacian argue, you hear sounds of a scuffle at the very least, or at least some sort of struggle up north. And you're the only one that seems to hear it. It sounds like blades, magic. It sounds like there's some sort of fight going on.
Alright, well, good news, everyone. Turns out the party's already started without us.
Then let us proceed.
Alright, look, if there's any consolation to you, I'm still feeling a little bit energized from that. I'll take the lead for now there, and if anything happens to me, I'm sure I'll be fine.
Let me have Belua go with you.
Alright, come on, bud.
I'll be NPCing Flix until if Allie doesn't recover. So Flix will be following along with the party, as well as Travels coming on behind. That's not hard for me to do. Okay. As you guys approach the main archway, it does lead into an extremely large room with a massive portal of just pure raw fire billowing out from what seems to be a rather large enclosed space. The room is ornate in a way that would make sense with a plane of fire. There's a lot of tubes and sort of steam kind of works all around the place. But let me move you guys over there. And actually reveal the whole area as you get in. You all kind of come into this big, massive chamber, and you look on ahead to see that there is indeed a struggle happening between what looks to be if the map would have please cooperate.
Never.
It doesn't want to cooperate. All right, I gotta reveal it a little bit at a time because it's being a jerk. Like that. Turn orders in the way. That.
Oh, not it again.
It sneeze. Okay. You see, there are 5 guards standing up against what looks to be the mage-like creature that you encountered down in the underbelly. Several of the guards, mostly the lesser ones to this side and this side, look a bit more well-worn, while the one that's in more ornate armor up here seems to be still standing. The creature here, the one in the blue and white robes, almost effortlessly waves a hand, and the 4 guards in front all collapse into heaps. So let me, if Roll20 would let me, please. I gotta zoom in. There we go. Yep. Yep. And that. And then the more ornate armored one seems to now be fallen back onto one knee. Do you do anything?
Tiberius kind of looks to
No.
Varius and gives him a knowing nod.
Various steps forward
Mhm.
and whistles.
The figure in the robes takes a moment and pauses, almost turning halfway to look back at you. There's a lantern in her hand, from the looks of it as well.
Not what I meant.
Do you want to say anything?
Ooh. Gosh darn it.
I hear Kitty.
Yep.
Theo, hello, Kitty.
Screaming hours.
Scram.
Hey, Scram.
Oh, baby.
We're pacing the desk and screaming.
Aww.
They're just
But yeah, Rose does step off to the side there and just kind of keeps a wary eye on Various.
Various
As
sort of
you-
sidesteps.
As you say that, she's kind of staring and watching you quietly. And then just gives a shake of her head. But before she can speak, you can hear the guard captain shout out, "Run! Get help!" But the moment he says that, she flicks around and a lightning bolt exits from one hand and knocks the guard to the ground.
Oh dear.
And then she turns back to you, Various. She's quiet for several seconds before scanning the group itself, and then gives a shake of her head. There's no talking left for you, brother. No, the only thing left for you is to perish with the rest of these traitors.
Beg your pardon?
You can't be allowed to leave after what you've seen.
Putting that up there.
And with that, she turns to face all of you, and she holds the lantern up. She begins to channel a strange energy into the lantern as light begins to coalesce from the main chamber, and the 5 bodies of the guards begin to glow. Each of their bodies turns into nothing more than a small floating orb of energy before coalescing behind her into a larger block of light. Let me delete this. She does have a smile on her face as the form begins to grow and grow into an almost massive size and take shape into some sort of serpentine creature that lands behind her. She smiles at all of you. If you survive this, then I'll be surprised. But we're coming for you. You'll be brought back. You'll be judged. And with that, she suddenly vanishes from sight. One second, lets me. Roll initiative! And...
Remember to click your token before you do.
Mm-hmm. Oh God, Rose.
Why does it say that mouse isn't a valid token?
I don't know. I'll add it manually, so don't worry about that.
Yeah, because it told me, but neither one of them was a valid token this time.
Your tips.
It's fine. I can just add them. So add turn, mouse, tips, add turn, 5. Alright. Let me in descending order. Gotta roll for flicks, so let me do that real quick. Character sheet. Flicks rolled an 8. Prism is not fighting, neither is Truffles in this fight. This Prism can't fight. Mouse, you're the first one. You've just watched this mage-like entity form 5 bodies into one massive hulking serpentine beast. What do you do?
Boy.
There is battle music just for you guys as well.
Gonna mage armor his little ass.
Mhm.
He doesn't trust the rest of you anymore. I mean, other than Dacian.
I mean, that's not unfounded.
No, it's not, because he almost died last time, so yeah. Do I need to click on it, or?
No. I believe that applies +3 AC to him. And his AC is 10. It's his dexterity modifier plus
13
yeah.
plus his dex modifier. Yeah, dex modifier.
So, okay, he's at 13. Cool. I'll keep that in mind. I'll put it as a note. I'll actually do one of these. And I'll add a blue circle to him. So that means he has mage armor. Cool.
He's also going to. Is he able to move as well, or no?
Yes, you can still move. Also, I
That's-
saw Tiberius do mage armor before fight, so you get a blue icon too.
What's the range on the squares here?
30. 30 is his range of motion. It should be that for everyone.
But the squares
Five,
are
5 feet. Mhm.
He's gonna just kind of scoot back into this little corner.
Smart.
Don't want to be near the prime targets, and he's small enough to probably blend into any. Well, there's probably not any shadows. Let's be
All right.
honest.
I'm NPCing Flix. I'm not going to do a whole lot for the character, but Flix is probably in a little bit of a panic mode, kind of seeing this thing come to form, and it's quite ugly. And he's going to cast Vicious Mockery on it. I know. Okay. So let me roll it's a wisdom save. And its wisdom is shit.
I mean, it's a giant hulking beast made up.
And
of
it hits. Flix just lets out this shriek of, God, get that ugly ass thing get that ugly thing away from me before moving back 5 feet, and it takes 2 points of psychic damage.
Mouse is just like, no, stay the hell away from me. God. Mouse is like,
Now
I don't
it's
need to
this
be near
thing's turn.
any of you.
This thing is massive. It's almost shambling along on two. It has 2 frontal limbs that it kind of crawls itself forward on. So 5, 10, 15, 20. But it obviously can't move far. And it kind of just pulls itself forward, almost leaving a trail of red ooze behind it that seems to smolder and crackle.
Oh boy.
Dacian.
Theo, move. I can't do anything on her. Oh. He's going to scoot over closer to our mouses, so
Mm-hmm.
out of the direct line of hopefully fire, and launch what I have. Firebolt at it.
Okay.
That.
Nice. Okay. So go ahead and hit that. You see this bolt of fire fly out from your hands and slam into the monster's sort of its neck. But you notice that as it hits, it kind of fizzles out a little bit. It doesn't really burn the creature as much, it kind of just pushes it a little bit. Almost as if it seems a little resilient to the damage. It only takes half damage.
Boy.
So it took 5. And it didn't really even seem to notice it. Darius, your turn.
So, Varius is going to move, and each one of these squares is 5 feet?
Yes.
So Varius is going to move 1, 2, 3, 4. He's going to try and he's not sure if it's going to focus on him or not, but he's going to try and, if so, direct its fire away from the main group.
Okay.
And as a he fires off a magic missile.
Okay, go ahead and roll all 3 damage. 3? Okay, good.
Wait,
more?
that's yeah. Okay. Trying to
Nice.
grab its attention.
Nice! Okay, that's 13 damage. You kind of fling out your magic missile to conjure it forth. You see three little orbs kind of rotate around your head before firing out this massive hulking snake-like creature. The first one hits, it kind of hits it in the side of the face, like it goes, ah! It kind of makes this gurgling sound before the other two slam into its side, kind of causing it to reel back a little bit. And it turns its gaze and looks towards you.
Alrighty, and next, Bella was going to move in.
Alright.
Sorry, I'm trying to figure out the best route.
Of course.
4, 6. So I'm going to go there, and its claws have reach.
I believe they have 5-foot reach.
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
Or I think, let me... so it's going to attack with its claws.
Okay. That hits!
Okay. And then its bonus claw.
And that hits as well. Very nice. That's going to be 137. Okay. Barely like this kind of rushes up to this creature and just rakes its claws over its hide, and it kind of cuts deep down to where he starts seeing a red like ooze pouring out from the wound as it hisses and crackles and falls to the ground. The creature lets out this sickening hiss that sounds like it's coming from multiple different creatures, but it's coming from just the one. Tiberius.
Got made arrow on myself. Yeah, I'm going to be doing kind of a bit of fire.
Very fast, okay. Go ahead and make a ranged attack against it. That should be 1d plus your dex modifier.
Ooh.
That hits! That hits. So go ahead and roll damage.
+4.
You should just be able to click the chill and it'll do the damage for you. And it's also slowed.
So we're, yeah.
Nice! So let me do the math. You kind of blast out this frigid beam of frost, and it kind of slams into the beast's side as it's kind of focused on Bella at the moment. And you can see the ice crackle and grow and kind of stick to the creature as it lets out this hiss and rise.
You guys are not paying attention to it very much.
Gross. You literally just watched this mage creature merge 5 bodies of your fellow primordials into this monstrosity.
Rose just kind of looks over, sees the frost ray that Tibbs shoots, looks over to the worm, and they grip for the symbol around their neck. Oh. Didn't like the ice, huh? Let me turn up the heat for you.
Alright, so roll save. It definitely fails to save. You kind of see this column of fire screech down from the ground, from the sky, and hit the creature, but it doesn't. It kind of shakes it off almost.
Well, it is radiant damage.
It is radiant. It does take less damage from this. But you can kind of see it shrug it off, so it only does 2 points of damage.
Tiberius is just going to look at Rose and look back at Rose. You realize it's made of fire, right?
Mouse. That's right, Myth is AFK for a moment because she had to give her cat some food. So we'll wait a little bit for them to come back.
Well, good. We can all describe on how we're going to die.
And
Alright.
if she's back, welcome back. It's Mouse's turn. The group has noticed that this thing takes less damage from fire and radiant damage. But its cold seems to do really well against it.
I realize this snail icon. Be back in 2 minutes. Just gonna check on the life.
Okay.
Just gonna do Toll of the Dead.
Okay.
Cast at what level for cantrip? He's 2, is it 2 or?
Told that that is a cantrip.
Yeah. It's asking me cast at what level.
What level does he have available at him? You don't have to cast it at any. Since it's a cantrip, it's cast at 0 level.
He has left to level 1 spells, but
Mm-hmm.
so should it be at 1 then?
If you do, it will take a spell slot. So that means he'll lose access to that spell slot.
Okay, well,
So it's up to you.
I guess 0 then for just cantrip.
Yeah. Okay, that is target must succeed a wisdom saving throw. Okay, so let me do that. What is its wisdom again? 0. It succeeds. As Mouse, you kind of try to bring down the some sort of necrotic energy onto this creature's head, and just kind of around its body. It kind of flicks its body, and the energy dissipates.
He's also gonna get the hell out of Dodge and get over by Dacian.
All right.
He's seen what happens with the others.
All right, now it's Flix's turn. Flix kind of sees Mouse run away and it's like, and kind of quietly goes up against the wall and instead will actually kind of look at you, Dacian. And you can see Flix take out his lute and he begins to strum several notes as he inspires you with bardic inspiration. Next time. Okay, the creature that gains one bardic inspiration is D6. Okay. So next time, Dacian, within the next 6 minutes, or at least I think it's 10 turns, you get to add a certain number based on bardic inspiration. So let me roll that for you. 1d6. Your next roll, add a +6 to it. Now it's this thing's turn. Bellula, since you are in range, this thing does have a reach attack. It kind of turns and looms over Bellula as it lifts its giant tail and brings it down to slam onto him. So that is... oh god, okay. Does that hit?
Yes, that hits.
Okay, it kind of brings this massive tail down and just slams straight into Bellula, into his side. And that's oh god. Okay. Yeah, this thing is +4. Okay. Oh wow, got lucky.
Alrighty.
But this thing is a multi-attack. And it kind of swings its tail back around to hit Bellula once more. Does a 9 hit?
No.
So Bellula, learning from the first hit, ducks down as this creature swings its massive tail over its head. It's a good thing you didn't get that last hit. Dacian.
Oh boy. He's gonna use Jolt.
You can, just remember to add +6 to your roll.
How do I do that?
Once you roll, I'll just add it manually.
Oh.
So that is a ranged attack spell. It should be 1d20 plus your dex modifier. And then since you're rolling it manually, you add a +6 at the end of it. So 1d20 plus dex plus 6.
I think I did that right.
Yep, and you just rolled really badly. Ouch.
I can't fucking win when dice are involved, ever, and I hate it.
You kind of begin to bring forth a shard of energy and try to aim it at the creature's head, but seeing as it moves and it's almost serpentine in nature, it's almost hard to pin down its motions, and you fire your jolt and it kind of sails between its coils as it moves around and thrashes. You gonna move, or...
Oh no, he's gonna stay in his nice little corner with mouths, away from everyone else.
Okay, Various.
Various whistles at the creature again, trying to get its attention. And he's going to move again up over here.
Also, since... Okay, cool. Go ahead.
And he's going to fire off an insult in its general direction.
Alright. Let's see if it makes the save or not. It does. You kind of unleash an insult at its creature, trying to pull it away from your Eidolon, but it ignores you completely.
Alright, so Belloa is going to go ahead and do what it does best. It's gonna keep... It's not a smart thing. The Eidolon is not smart.
You
And
gonna
it's-
smash.
Yeah, it's gonna smash, and it's going to focus on just trying to do as much damage as it can while it's still around.
Mm-hmm.
So... probably doesn't hit.
That does not hit.
And it's going to...
That hits!
Okay, button, please. There we go.
That's 4 damage. Nice. Belial kind of misses on the first one as the creature kind of thrashes around. It's making it hard to hit. But on the swing around, on the kind of the backswing, it finally catches its claws into its hide and kind of rakes it across the side.
And it's going to move right here.
Okay. It's still within its range, so he doesn't provoke an attack of opportunity.
Yep.
Tiberius, you're up.
Take a look right now. Hello?
Hmm?
How does it look right now?
It looks a little scuffed up, but it's looking pretty good. It's still standing quite straight up, and it doesn't really look to be bleeding much.
Oh, that means that it just needs more incentive to bleed. I'm going to do another ice blast at it.
Okay, go ahead.
It looks like a stupid creature, so it won't be fooled by the illusion.
Nice.
That hits. Roll damage.
Staying rolling.
Roll
Uh,
20. Why?
the little... So you see underneath 60 feet where it says Vermont Chill? You
Click
can
it.
click that. Yeah.
And I'll
Oh,
roll
okay.
the damage. It's really nice. Nice. Once again, you blast this thing with a big ray of frost, and again, it has the same effect. It kind of cakes onto the creature as it hisses and writhes from the impact.
I'd like to add that Tiberius is going to taunt Various, indicating that's not how you insult a monster. They don't understand plain words.
Gross.
Upon seeing how this creature has some resilience to radiance, Rose storms forward towards this creature's side, and their arm kind of almost extinguishes itself and for a moment becomes a charred husk of itself as it reaches out towards it.
Okay.
And Rose is going to cast Inflict Wounds.
Nice.
As soon as Roll20 wants to do the thing. Okay.
That hits.
Ooh.
I'll take the first roll.
All
That
right.
definitely hits.
Oh!
Nice.
Yeah, okay. You kind of reach out to really lay your hand on this monstrosity, and the sort of charred husk that your hand has taken on transfers directly into the creature as it howls and recoils and writhes under your touch as you see parts of its body begin to fall and die away into ash. It's now looking much, much more haggard.
How do you like them apples, huh, you bastard?
But as a result, it's now turned its gaze onto you.
As a note, did we get any of our spell slots back after
You
the
did.
rest?
For a short rest, no, not unless you're a wizard.
Okay.
Mouse, you're up.
Second verse, same as the first. Toll of the Dead again.
Alright.
So,
Okay. It fails this time. So go ahead and roll damage, which is a 1d8.
it's missing hit points, correct?
Yes it is. Okay, so 1d12. Check it. Mouse, you finally are able to channel some sort of magic around this creature, and since it's so distracted from Rose and seems to be getting really pummeled from its side, you notice that the bells do indeed begin to sort of fall around the creature as it rise again, and you see its flesh begin to decay slightly. Flix's turn. Flix, seeing Rose and everyone kind of just continue fighting, realize it's probably best to kind of step back. And it's like, it's not going to mess his hair up on this writhing snake monster. Ugh. And he'll use Bardic Inspiration on Rose this time. So that means, Rose, you get a +5 on your next roll.
Sweet.
Now it's this thing's turn. Rose, this thing is not quite happy with you right now. And much like Bellula, it raises its tail down to slam into you.
Now
You've got this, fire buddy.
I've got a question. Does this count as flanking? Since
No,
Bella-
it does. No, this thing is a huge creature. You have to be on the opposite side of it.
Okay.
Does a 15 hit?
That will hit.
Rose?
Yes, that does hit.
Okay. That's... $11 points of damage. It brings its tail down to slam into you, kind of trying to smack your hand away, the one that dealt the necrotic damage, and then it winds back around to do it once more. 14.
That will also hit.
But the moment this hits you, its tail begins to coil around you. You are now grappled. This means that you... Let me see. Right, so let me add the icon to you. Let me bring it up. Your speed is now 0. You can't benefit from any bonus speed. You can struggle to get out of its reach. And you need to do a DC save of strength to get out on your next turn.
Thank goodness he's got that bardic inspiration.
its turn's not over yet, as it moves to eat you.
Eat Rose?
So please make me a con save.
Okay.
Constitution save against war.
Oh god. Okay, Rose, you struggle and try to break free, but this thing literally engulfs you in its maw. You are now engulfed.
I knew someday it would
Dacian.
come to this.
Is anyone else terrified?
Alright, and...
Also, it's no longer slowed.
we're gonna go with another jolt.
Alright.
So that's what, one, is that still +6 on that?
No, your Bardic Inspiration has already been used for your turn. Bardic Inspiration only lasts one turn. So go ahead and roll your ranged attack. That hits! Go ahead and roll damage.
8.
1d8. Seeing Rose literally get devoured by this creature, you charge up another shard of crystallized energy and kind of throw it at the beast as the crystal actually hits its mark this time because it's so occupied with dealing with Rose. And the crystal shatters, breaking pieces of its charred skin off. There he is. Do you want to move at all, Dacian, or are you going to stay put?
Nope. I'm
Alright.
staying in my safe little corner, out of the reach of Warman.
Alright,
I don't blame you.
Darius.
Various is going to take a step forward. He's obviously alarmed. He's not as occupied with witty banter. I'm sorry.
It's alright.
And he's going to do vicious mockery again.
Okay. It fails. What do you say to it? Alright, and it kind of flinches at this as it takes the 2 points of psychic damage.
And now Bellowa, he's going to yell to Bellowa, tear it open.
Since Rose is devoured, he can't trigger flanking.
I know.
First time. That hits.
Sorry, moving things. There we go.
Okay. That does not hit. So the first strike comes down as he's trying to get its motions down and breaks his claws against one of its sides, but he touches it, the second claw, a little too loosely and kind of barely scrapes by, not hitting the creature itself. Tiberius.
and I'm gonna go and try and freeze its face area
Okay.
or throat. Mainly the throat. If muscles will work, we can't eat our lovable meat sheet.
Would you even say he's our firewall?
That was a good joke. I love it.
Okay, go ahead and roll your attack. Alright, Frost.
You can click from there, can I? Fine. Oh dear.
Oh no. Okay, so Tiberius, as you kind of reach out, trying to make a quippy little one-liner, you don't realize that you've channeled the spell wrong until it backfires over your hand. Please roll 1d8 for yourself. You take 2 points of frost damage as your hand kind of freezes over.
It's fine. This is what I planned on doing. Now I can touch it.
Roast, you can make a strength save to try to escape the creature.
And don't forget, you get a +5.
You get +5 from your bardic inspiration.
I went out. I went out. I went out. I went out.
This will take your movement, just so you know.
Mm-hmm.
So go ahead and roll strength, and
I
then
don't
add
think there's anything
+5.
you could really do without it.
Yeah, add +5. That is 5, 8, 13. Is that enough? Barely enough. You kind of are able to clamber its mouth open. You force the jaws wide, and you leap out onto the ground, covered in orange saliva.
Rose just kind of, as they land, they slowly stand up and just kind of like looking at through the ooze running down their face at it. 5 fucking souls, and that's all you got?
And guess what? Because I moved Belloa, you now have flanking.
You have flanking now, yes.
Yeah, alright, so in that case...
Conditions.
Yeah, and once on Rose's that, doing so, they reach into their blazer, and they sort of like, kind of like whip out into almost like a photo police baton. You just see this fiery club appear in their hand.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna strike here. And that's flanking with advantage, right?
Yes.
9.
That hits. That indeed hits. As you kind of get yourself composed and you scream at this thing as it tries to come back down to try to bite you again, you just swing your mace and clobber it onto the side, turning its head to the side as it tries to eat you again. This thing is starting to look haggard, bloody, and worn down. Mouse?
It's okay.
Smith, you alright?
Yeah, I was just reading.
Oh, okay, you're up.
I know. That's why I'm reading.
Oh, okay.
And same as before.
Alright. Let me roll its wisdom. Yep. Okay. Now I should try again to try to call down some necromantic energy to start burning away this creature, but once again it doesn't seem to do much. It kind of just shrugs it away as it flails about. Alright, Flix, what can I have you do? I mean, Bardic Inspiration is definitely helping now. Let's see, what can you do?
So wait, I'm confused about this bardic inspiration. Does it last for one turn, or does it last
One
for 10
turn.
turns, like you said before?
It lasts for one turn. Basically, if you don't do anything on your turn, it carries over. But if you use it, then yes, it's used.
Okay.
Yes. Alright. And let's see. I'm just looking over Flix's spell list. No one's really wounded, so
Rose almost got.
Flix will attempt to use Hideous Laughter on the thing. Wisdom saving throw, and his spell save is... Okay. You kind of see Flix try to call out some sort of strange magic to this thing, kind of pointing at it and commanding it to fall flat. And it does just that, as the creature seems to be overwhelmed with this hissing, cackling laughter as it falls prone. Now, any attacks until it's able to get up on its next turn, if it does, now have advantage. But now it's its turn. It will try to lash out at you again, Rose, while not trying to get up. It's not very smart. So it rolls at disadvantage. That's not the thing. Does 21 hit?
Yes, that does hit.
Okay. It's kind of flailing and lashing around as it's on the ground writhing. And it still manages to slam you with the broadside of its tail. And it'll once again try again. Again, at disadvantage.
Oh god.
Yeah.
It'll be fine, Rose. We can put you back together, right? Just like Humpty Dumpty?
Does a 21 hit? I'm guessing yes.
Yep.
Alright. Let me roll damage. That's a 15. This time, though, it does again start to coil around you, but it's unable to engulf you as it writhes around on the ground.
Rose is unconscious right now.
Oh. Well. Alright, Rose is now unconscious, guys. Dacian. It's rolling really good, what the hell?
It's gonna eat people. Literally.
Yeah.
Same as last time.
Alright. That does not hit. The dice are not with you, what the hell?
I told you, I fucking hate dice, and dice hate me.
Darius, you just saw Rose go down.
Okay, let me... Is there anything somebody can do to get him out of those coils?
Hold on a second. This thing is prone, so Dacian, roll me an attack one more time. I just remember the thing is prone.
So same thing again, 1d20 plus 2.
Yes. That hits? Okay, go ahead and roll damage. I forget this thing is
Before I
prone, so you
roll
have
a
advantage. Hopefully not.
Oh no, I'm gonna roll a 1.
No, you rolled max damage.
Surprisingly enough.
It's surprising to hit this thing as it lashes around and is coiled around Rose's limp body. Alright, sorry about that, Various, go ahead.
Now, is there any way to get Rose out of its coils?
Killing it.
Okay. Pretty straightforward.
Reverse psychology, it works!
So he's going to...
Uh-huh. I am not that cruel.
Woo!
I am not that cruel. I am just having it knocked prone. That means it needs to take a movement to get up.
Just making sure. A lot of people saying you're pulling punches as we're getting horribly eaten by the snake monster.
Yeah, I am not that cruel.
And so Various is going to move.
Oops, sorry, that was the wrong button. I was trying to look at the information.
Okay.
Sorry, that was just me. Don't worry about it.
No, it's okay. And shouts out another insult to try and draw its attention.
Okay. It fails, and it takes 1 damage.
So, does this version of Vicious Mockery invoke disadvantage when it hits?
The damage itself doesn't. But again, this thing already... basically, if it's up prone, damage isn't rolled at advantage, it's to hit it.
Okay.
And then since it's Vicious Mockery is a spell, it just has to make a DC save, which it got 2. Hey, getting better. Getting better with your insults, nice.
And Belua's gonna do what he does best.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to rip this thing open to get it off of Rose.
That hits.
Click the button. It's being slow.
There it
we go.
is. That does
probably
not
doesn't.
hit. No.
Oh,
Regular breaks.
do I roll with advantage?
You do
though,
roll at
because-
advantage, yes. So go ahead and roll once more for your bonus claw.
Hey!
That hits. That hits. And does 6 damage. Nice. This thing is starting to look really ragged now. Like it's almost as if you're shredding it apart. It's definitely on its last legs. You see what I did there?
Does it even have legs?
Okay. Alright, Tiberius, you're up.
Alright, Tiberius is going to invoke the Tides of Chaos,
Alright.
giving him advantage on his next attack roll, and he's going to try and freeze it on the ground, like at its wherever its body is touching it.
Okay, go ahead.
Do it twice.
Remember, roll with advantage.
God dang it. Clicking the wrong thing.
It's okay.
Doo-doo-doo. Thank God I
That
had
hits
advantage.
indeed. That hits indeed. You kind of chill this thing to the ground as its body continues to writhe as the icicles form over and try to start encasing it. But not quite, as it still continues to move and writhe on the ground. But it's definitely let go of Rose finally. As Rose's body kind of hits the ground. Rose, make me a death save.
Oh, damn!
Okay, that counts as 2. You only need 1 more. First not 20 and on a death save, Jesus. Mouse, this thing is basically on its last legs. Finish it. Alright, go ahead and roll your attack at advantage.
Oh,
Actually, no, this is a wisdom saving throw. That's right, sorry. I have to roll at a disadvantage for this thing. It fails. 1d12. That's actually just enough. How do you want to do this? I know. How do you want to kill it?
oh, gee, I don't know. Should we go along the lines of the old mission with the severed head floating? You know, where
Sure.
like goop comes out of the eyes and all kinds of, or the
Sure.
eye holes. All right, yep, there you go.
Alright, Mouse, you bring upon this writhing creature, pathetic creature on the ground as you bring down some necromantic energy and just, you see its body begin melting, oozing from the eyes and its mouth as it kind of melts and dissipates onto the floor.
There you go.
If I can do this right. See if it goes to the right music. This thing is dead. Is anyone going to stabilize Rose?
Can Various try?
You can. Do a medicine check for me.
Alright, let me. Medicine. Shoot.
Not quite. But Flix does rush over and he will cast Healing Word on Rose to get him back up. So. A healing energy falls over Rose as you recover 8 points damage and return to consciousness. However, with that, we're going to be taking our 10 to 15 minute break. So please go take a chance to go to the bathroom, get a drink, snack, etc., and we'll return in 15 minutes.